a pastor. I love teaching, weddings, baptisms, even board meetings. You work with people in the best and worst times. My joy has been giving a sense of hope. To me, Christmas was the most exciting time of the year. It was family, friends, trees, mangers, joy. Christmas was also when I learned I'd die. ALS gets worse and worse. Eventually, it affects swallowing, chewing, breathing. When the lungs go, you end up dying. They said you have 5 years to live. People do the unthinkable for charity, like a man locking himself up for 3 weeks with 300 poisonous spiders, or a group of female entertainers offering free lap dances to those who donate a toy for children. The ALS Ice Bucket Challenge seems tame in comparison, which is possibly why it raised $86 million. A 3,000% increase from the previous year. And yet the April 21st, 2014 Daily Telegraph calls out this idea of raising awareness through the challenge as a middle-class wet t-shirt contest for armchair collectivists. So, how do we raise awareness? By seeing the stories of those afflicted. This is Ed's story by Hunter Hampton. I thought this would be my last Christmas. I didn't want to show up at the Christmas festival. People asking me how I was doing. My wife said, "You need to go." I wanted to sit at home alone, but she said, "People need you." So I got in my truck, and my phone rang. It was Billy. Now he says to me in his high-pitched New York accent, "Hey!" And I can't do a New York accent. "You need to be a Yogi Berra Christian." I have no clue what he was talking about. He's off the wall, to say the least. So I ask him, "What do you mean?" And he says to me, "It ain't over till it's over." Billy's wife died in his arms. His son, he has never found to this day. But he is hopeful. He is still alive. Every human being knows they're gonna die. The difference is, I feel it with every twitch in my muscles. Humans have this capacity to think they live forever. You ain't living forever. I think about the future. What if I can't use my hands and my legs? What if I have a wheelchair or can't talk? My wife, my job, all of it taken away. In college, I wanted to be a surgeon, but halfway through, God spoke to me, so I switched from chemistry to the Bible. I'd always been good at caring for people, listening, praying, doing what God wanted. Now I didn't want to. Walking in church with my head down, a man asked to talk. He had ALS. Within a week, JJ became one of my best friends. Pilgrims on the same journey. We would go to coffee and sit in silence for 30 minutes, sipping coffee. We had a deep peace. I mean, what do you say to someone who is struggling? The answer is, you shut up! I'm not afraid of being dead. It's the getting dead that bothers me. It bothered JJ, so he went out and bought a new Corvette and decided to travel Route 66 to California. 13 of his friends said, if you're going, we're going. Each bought a Corvette. He couldn't speak, so I went as his spokesman. I was at JJ's house when he passed. After I prayed with his wife, she told me that JJ had willed me his Corvette. I tried to give it back, but she said that this is what JJ wanted. I would have gladly given the Corvette to have JJ. I've been around people with feeding tubes and ventilators, and I see my future. When you're told you're dying, you are living in fear. Every issue is overwhelming and discouraging. Reading in Hebrews, I thought, this is me. I'm afraid of tomorrow. The doctor told me you need to quit as soon as possible. I couldn't stand the thought of walking away from what I loved, so I spent hours researching. I kept figuring there has to be a cure. There is no cure. I wanted to leave before people saw me go downhill, so I announced I was quitting. It's going from 100 miles an hour to 0. When you're not needed, you lose purpose. But I had no way to preach. I was no longer a pastor. I had done a lot of funerals. I sit down with the family, and if they had a good relationship, they talk. A bad relationship, silent. I didn't want people silent when I died. I made a list of everybody I knew I had offended. Some I knew were wrong. But a relationship is more than who's wrong. Forgiveness is a great idea until you have to humble yourself and admit wrong. That's more than a cure. It's wholeness with God, others, and you. When you're worried about the future, it's hard to find God. When you're in the present, He's there. I would like ALS reversed, but it's not the most important thing. Billy's phone call was like God speaking to me with a New York accent. Meeting JJ was a reminder God was with me the worst of days. I had preached to thousands, but today I help individuals on their journey. This purpose follows Jesus, and the paradox is I have been trying to do that all my life. I was dying because I had given up. one day it will all be over. But it's not about how long I have left. It's about how I spend the time I have. I'm not thankful for ALS, but I can be thankful for today. Go to bed, wake up, and pray. Thank you for this morning.